Hello and welcome to Watercolor Wednesday today. I'm going to be painting this landscape and I'm going to be using a complementary color scheme, which means that the colors that I'm picking are opposite each other on the color wheel. So for this picture, you can see a lot of orange and a lot of blue, and I'm going to be playing with that for this video. So let me go ahead and hide the picture so you can see what I'm doing. And you'll notice that my paper is not turned landscape, it's portrait. And so I'm just going to be using that photo as inspiration and not really painting it exactly how it is, but we'll go from there. Okay. So first I'm going to just quickly sketch this little horizon line here. And got my little ruler here. I don't want it that low. Let's see. Bring it up a little bit higher. I'm just lightly putting a line there. That's kind of where my water is going to be. And then I can kind of go from here. So I want the kind of trees to show. They kind of come up this way. There's another little hill. Comes down, goes back up. And then, let's see, one more little hill right there. Okay, so that's what I'm kind of going for as I'm painting. And let me pull, here's my flat brush. This is a 3/4 inch wash brush from Princeton. And I'm going to be using, this is phthalo blue green shade. And that's pretty bold and bright. So I want to make sure that I'm toning it down just a little bit. I'm going to tone it down with this brilliant orange. And I used orange because it is across from blue on the color wheel. And so it's going to cancel that out a little bit and make it look a little bit more gray. And I do want it a little bit lighter, so I'll just add a bit of water. Okay. I'm just going to get started here. Now on my picture, the sky is actually a little bit more orange. Not super orange, but more orange than this blue that I'm painting. So I'm using Jaune Brilliant from Holbein for this kind of peach color. I'm going to add in a bit of that blue mixture that I already used just to mute that down a little bit more. I'm going to paint that in here. Adding water to that because it came out a little darker than I was hoping for, but that's okay. Adapting, that is the key with watercolor painting. Go back in with this bluish gray. And you'll notice I'm just painting over the drawing that I already made. It's because when this dries, it's going to be a lot lighter. And I'm going to use a technique called glazing, which is where I can paint over the top. It's basically just layering. Just layer over the top. Let's see here. It's a little too green. Because my picture is not this blue. It is more of a gray tone, so I need to tone that back just a little bit more. And lighten it up a little bit with some water. I'm just getting this first wash down, and then we'll go from there. Excellent. Okay. I'm going to go back in and add just a little bit of this blue. And my paper is still damp, and so that's why this is kind of bleeding up here. And that's what I want. I don't want it to just sit on top of this. I want it to kind of blend into the background. And I forgot to grab some paper towels, so while this is drying a little bit, I'm going to run and grab some. I usually have some right next to me, but I forgot to grab some. I just want this for my clouds right here. And I don't think I worked fast enough here. When you're wanting to lift the paint, you want to make sure that your paint is still wet, or it's going to do what I've been doing up here. And when I blot, there's nothing that will come up. Okay. I hope this will look more like clouds when I'm when I'm finished. Okay, and then down here, I have a little bit of it started, but I just want to darken this area just slightly. So what I'm doing is this orange is a little bit too bold. I want to tone it down quite a bit. So I'm adding in that peach, and then I'm adding in a little bit of water to lighten it up. There we go. That's more what I'm looking for here. I kind of went about painting this a little backwards. Instead of starting with the background and working forward, I started with the front because I needed to get this orange here before it dried. But I think it'll still work. Okay, I want to wait just a minute for this to dry so that I can add more details in here. But I'm going to actually go back over this up here and just soften this up a little bit. I don't want it to look so gray. But I'm just layering right over the top or glazing. And please let me know if you have any questions as I'm painting. This is one of those things where I'm kind of learning right along with you because I don't paint landscapes a ton. I mean, I've been painting them more, but my comfort zone is definitely with flowers, not landscapes. So I kind of understand the principles of watercolor, and I understand kind of what I'm going for, but I'm learning too. It's an never-ending process is what I should say. Always learning. Okay, I'm happier with this tone now, because before it felt like the sky was really light and then this water down here was really dark. I just want to make sure those clouds don't get lost. Okay. I'm going to switch to my size 10 round brush. kind of mixing this deep blue, but I want to add in a bit of this orange color just because I'm going to be painting more browns. This is kind of turning out more of a purplish gray. That's okay. We're going to make it work. Okay. I just want to make sure this is a little more dry before I start adding in lots of details here. So this second little hill here has a lot of trees. I'm going to wait just a minute because I know if I put down this dark paint, it's just going to go everywhere. I don't want it to do that quite yet. And this is also where I know a lot of artists will kind of give up. This is where I'm tempted to be like, oh, this isn't working. Let's start over. But I'm going to just keep pushing it and see where it can take me. And I know it's not going to look exactly like the picture. Here's our reference. So this one is more like peach tones. I wanted it to be a little bit more bold than that, just because we are doing complementary colors. So, okay, that feels a little more dry. But we've got these trees in here. That might be a little too dark. I'm not going to paint them all the way over because there are more trees in the foreground here that are going to be a little bit more detailed and prominent. Oh, I still have that up. Hold on. Here I go, just painting and then... Anyway, what I was saying is I'm not going to be painting the trees all the way over because there are more trees in the foreground that I want to be more detailed and more prominent. So I'm just adding in a little bit of color, this darker blue here, to act like a little bit of a shadow. It's hard to see, and I can't really move my paper because it's taped down. Well, the block is taped down. I wanted a little bit of a border. So we'll wait until it's totally done. Okay, while that's drying, I'm gonna go back up into my sky here and just play with that a little bit more. This is still drying. This is the section I want to tackle next. Oh, thank you so much. You are so sweet. Sweet Flame says, "You are an amazing artist." That is so kind. Okay, I'm going to start adding in some trunks of these trees right in here. So now I'm just going in and adding some little branches. And I know they're going to bleed everywhere, but that's okay. I'll go in once it's totally dry and just clean that up a little bit. So it's starting to come together a little bit. When it's totally dry and I can add in more detail, I think it's going to be even better. I told you, it's one of those things where I'm like, I think this is going to turn out how I want it to, but not 100% sure. Just keep going. And the beauty of that too is if it doesn't turn out exactly how you want it, you get to use that as a blueprint for what went wrong and try again. So you don't just have one shot and then you're done. You can use your previous paintings to just, I can't speak, to try and learn from it and see what went well, what didn't go well. This paint is still pretty wet, so I'm trying to add in some little details here, but they're just blending in, so I'll wait just a minute here. And then while I'm doing that, I'm going to add just a little bit more of this bright yellow orange just in here a little bit. Okay, so complementary colors. It's kind of working out a little bit. I want this to dry so I can just add some final little details in here, but this is where we started. I'll show you again. And then this is where we're ending up. So it's not exactly like the picture, obviously, but we used the trees kind of coming in against each other, crisscrossing like that. We used the complementary color scheme, so the blue and the orange, and just kind of went for it. So if you try painting a landscape with complementary colors, I want to see it. So definitely, if you post it on Instagram, tag me. I'm at Snowberry Design Co. And if you post it in our Facebook group, I'd love to see it there. I love the Facebook group because it doesn't have as many people in there, and it's a little more private. So if you feel nervous to share on your public Instagram, you can post on the Facebook page, and everybody's so nice over there. If you have questions or if you need feedback, everyone's very kind. I just encourage you to share, because is this my best painting I've ever done in my life? No. But I learned a lot. And I'll definitely be trying something like this again, so I'm glad that I did it. And if you are new around here, this month we're doing everything all about color. So that's why we were talking about complementary color schemes today. And I have a virtual workshop coming up. Virtual just means that it's online and not in person. And it's going to be this Friday. If you can't make it Friday, that's okay. As long as you've purchased the workshop, you can access the replay on your own time. And I'll be talking about color theory, color mixing, some techniques for color mixing, how to tell the difference between warm and cool colors when you're mixing. So it's going to be really good, and I'm very excited. If you want to join us, there's a link on Instagram, or sorry, not on Instagram, on my YouTube channel in the description box below, or you can go to snowberrydesignco.com/now, and that'll take you to direct links. I think what's thrown me is this like bright orange here in the middle. It's a little too light. Okay, I think I'm going to call that done. This is the best part, taking off the tape. There we go. You can see it's still wet, but give you a little bit of a closer view. Very fun. I love a loose landscape. So I'd love to see what you paint. Again, if you share it on Instagram, tag me at Snowberry Design Co., just like here in the corner, or post in the Facebook group. I'm just going to go ahead and sign this, and then we'll be all done. And next week on Watercolor Wednesday, we are going to be doing an analogous color scheme, which means the colors are sitting next to each other on the color wheel. And that's going to be a lot of fun. And I'll be painting flowers, which is my favorite. So that'll be a lot of fun too. Okay, thanks again for watching. Bye.